over the 2020 and figuring out ultimately what has to happen and the reality for so many of those businesses. But that's coming up after 8 o'clock here on the program. Right now, it is May, and that means it's time for us to really be ramping up for the good folks over at the Niagara Children's Center. Of course, it is the Help Kids Shine month, where we are raising money and awareness for the folks over at the Children's Center. Cash for Children in Niagara who require therapy, support services, and youth with physical, developmental, and communicative delays and disabilities. Go over to 610cktv.com and get all the links for the details over there of how to donate and how to be involved in all of this. And we're pleased to be joined on the program this morning by Diana Ramirez, an occupational therapist over at the Children's Center. Diana, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me, Matt.
No worries. This is each and every year we have these conversations with so many different people, you know, the great ambassadors, the parents and the families that are impacted and folks like yourself that are delivering these services, which I think it's always a really great reminder for people of some of the great work that's going on over there. So as an occupational therapist, let's tell people about what you're doing.
So I'm an occupational therapist in the school-based rehab program. So we're directly working in the schools, in the communities. This year has been a bit different, of course, with everything that's going on. But basically what we do as occupational therapists is that we take a look at the child from a holistic point of view. All the facilitators around them, like their families as the support systems and what they're all about, and then looking at how we can enable them to participate in all the different occupations that are important to them. So things that they need to do, like going toileting, dressing themselves, and then things that they may have that they need to do, like going to school and participating in the different activities that are involved in that, and then also things that they do for fun. So again, with children that may have difficulties in some different areas, we take a look at problem solving, collaborate with everyone involved around them and with the child at the center, and just seeing how we can promote their independence and their achievement of the best quality of life.
Making sure they're ready for that school environment, even though again right now it's all an online environment for many of them, right?
Yeah.
How much has that really changed, I guess, what you need to do this past year in terms of the fact that there was a time, I know my kids were in school for a little while anyway, where some of the kids were in classrooms, but for the most part we've been in this kind of virtual world.
Yeah, so we continue to provide services to the children and support to the schools and the families. So it's changed a bit now. We're essential service. So we continue to provide services at the center whenever the schools are open, working with the schools. And again, following all the restrictions in place and all the safety considerations, right? So that we can go into the schools whenever they're open, providing service virtually. So, and then continuing to provide support via phone or Zoom calls like this with the teachers, principals, like everyone involved, right? So yeah, it's changed a bit, but we're still there for the families and the children.
How long have you been doing this with the Children's Center?
So services, our program actually transitioned from the LIN to the Niagara Children's Center back in January 2020. So our program is young at the center, right? So yeah, that's how long I've been there.
So does it? Were you with the LIN before, or?
No, I was working at a different private pediatric clinic before.
Okay. Because I was going to ask if maybe it changed a little bit, or if it kind of changed the services going from one place and coming over to the Children's Center, or if it maybe offered better opportunities for the kids.
Yeah, well, there is a lot more opportunities because now we're at the center. There is a lot more opportunities for collaboration with other colleagues. So whereas before it was more like in silos, now we have all services at the center. So we have the speech language pathologist right there, the physio right there, and we're at the same office. So that provides a lot of opportunities, definitely for.
So for you, this is I guess just over a year, I guess, that you've been there, right?
Yeah, so since 2020.
So what's it like? Because I think sometimes we'll talk to some of the people who've been working there for years. Were you exposed to the Children's Center prior to getting involved, or?
Well, just I worked in St. Catharines, so just kind of, and then there were children and families that would come to the pediatric, private pediatric clinic I was working at. So many of them were also involved with the Niagara Children's Center, and just kind of
Okay.
hearing their stories and how much support they were getting from the center as well.
So then your take then after a year of being there and kind of how integrate you talked about how you can go down the hall and there's the next service is there, the next service is right there. What's it been like an eye opener for you to see how well it's run? Or
Yeah, definitely. Just seeing how much the teams work together, collaborate. They care so much. Everyone at the center cares so much about the children and families, and really want to provide the best support possible to enhance the quality of life of all the children that come through our doors. Yeah, so that's been great.
that part's got to be there, doesn't it? Like I haven't talked to a single person working there that doesn't care deeply about all the kids that come through. Like that compassion and that connection is certainly real, isn't it?
Yes, definitely.
How do I guess kind of is that a weight or is it just a joy? Like can it be like, oh my goodness, we've got a lot of work to do, or like how do you keep yourself from getting to that point where you're looking at it going, boy, we've got a lot of work to do, instead of, boy, this is a lot of fun.
Well, you know what? Is keeping the families and the children right at the center, right? Is seeing the joy as the children are able to do things that they thought that they would never be able to do before, or that just building that confidence with the skills as they progress towards their goals. That just keeps you going. It's that fuel that keeps you going. And so we have very large caseloads, long wait lists, but just kind of working through that and just seeing through that, and that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and the impact that you're making on their lives, and just hearing from the families, just being so thankful about all the support that they're receiving.
Well, no, I guess like, especially when you're doing sorts of things like you were talking about earlier in terms of helping them make sure they're ready for a classroom and all the social aspects of that. I'm sure as time progresses, you're going to see kids who would be nowhere near ready for a classroom, and then ones who it might be a seamless transition eventually. You know what I mean? Like I think that'll probably be incredibly rewarding once we get back to normal school stuff.
Yes, definitely. Yes, that's very rewarding, and just seeing them be able to do the things that they really want to do and participate with their friends and just be like everyone else.
Is that harder when we're talking about some of the children that are coming through the children's center? The fact that there's not those play activity opportunities with with a lot of their friends, and we've been in this bubble world where we're in our own household and stuff. Does that make it harder to I guess connect and help them through some of the stuff they're working on?
Yeah, so we know that the pandemic has been very difficult, and especially for children, right? And they're not getting that level of interaction with their peers that they were getting before. But again, we continue to provide some opportunities. There's a great rec therapy program through our center, and then they continue to run some virtual groups and foster those social interactions in this new
Okay.
world, right?
Yeah.
Just virtually.
That's why I just think of it, because you always think of kind of being immersed in something, and when you see one person doing it, it's easier just for us too to kind of copy what they're doing and to pick up on new things in that way. And I imagine a lot of the kids that are coming through the children's center do that same type of thing, not knowingly, but they just do.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, so we can see the light at the end of the tunnel with the
Thankfully.
vaccines getting out there in the community. So we'll just have to stay positive and stay put, right?
Yeah, and we'll get all kinds of folks helping out the children's center this month with the Help Kids Shine campaign. And Diana, I appreciate the chat this morning. Thanks.
Thank you, Matt.
Take care. There is Diana Ramirez from the Niagara Children's Center, an occupational therapist over there. And of course, it is Help Kids Shine Month all month long. And all you have to do is go over to 610cktb.com and check out all the links over there. Obviously, raising money for the Niagara Children's Center, all of it going into programs that support youth with physical, developmental, communicative delays, and disabilities. And a couple of extra things this year. You can check out the Eat Local page at the NiagaraChildren'sCenter.com for a place to grab dinner. There's a whole whack of places businesses that have come up over the last little while that are involved. You can order dinner, and part of the funds part of the cost is going to be brought over to the Children's Center. It's all sponsored this year by MNP 310 Debt, your local trusted debt advisors, and us over here at News Talk 610 CKTB. Very proud to be involved for yet another year with the Children's Center. Again, go to 610CKTB.com for all the information. Coming up next hour, Carrie Porter is going to join us, St. Catharines City Councilor, Blake Landry from the region. We're going to talk about their research being done with businesses to see how many businesses made or lost money. Surprisingly, not all of them, which I think is shocking to some people. Blake will join us, but we got the news coming up in just a moment. It is the weekend edition, News Talk 610 CKTB.